In 1925, a quarry worker in South Africa handed an unusual fossil to a young anatomist named Raymond Dart. It was the skull of a child, small, fragile, with a brain no larger than a chimpanzee's, but something about it was different. The face looked more human than ape. The position of the skull suggested it walked upright. Dart believed he was looking at one of humanity's earliest ancestors. The scientific community thought he was crazy. At the time, most researchers were convinced that human evolution must have happened somewhere more advanced. Europe was the favorite candidate. Some preferred Asia. Africa, they argued, was the wrong place. They were wrong. Spectacularly wrong. Over the next century, fossil after fossil would emerge from Africa. The earliest upright walkers, the earliest stone toolmakers, the earliest members of our own genus, and eventually the earliest Homo sapiens. Today, the evidence is overwhelming. Humanity is an African story. But that raises an even bigger question. Why Africa? Why did the evolutionary process that eventually produced humans unfold on this continent and not somewhere else? The answer begins long before humans existed. In fact, it begins deep beneath the Earth's surface. Around 30 million years ago, Africa started tearing itself apart. Not metaphorically, literally. Massive tectonic forces beneath the continent began pulling the crust apart, creating what geologists now call the East African Rift. The crack stretched thousands of kilometers through modern-day Ethiopia, Kenya, and Tanzania. At first, the changes were almost invisible, a few millimeters per year. Nothing dramatic. But, over millions of years, those tiny movements reshaped an entire continent. As the rift widened, parts of East Africa rose upward, forming highlands and mountain ranges. And those mountains did something extraordinary. They changed the weather. Moist air from the Indian Ocean traveled inland and collided with these rising elevations. The air cooled. Rain fell. By the time the clouds crossed the mountains, much of their moisture was gone. The western side remained wetter and more forested. The eastern side became progressively drier. Over millions of years, vast tropical forests retreated. In their place appeared something new: savannas. Open grasslands dotted with trees, a landscape unlike anything our ancestors had experienced before. And this is where the story becomes interesting, because forests reward one set of skills. Savannas reward another. Imagine you're an ape living in a forest. Food hangs from branches. Shade is everywhere. Predators are easier to avoid because you can climb. Life isn't easy, but it's predictable. Now imagine those forests begin disappearing. Food becomes scattered. Water becomes harder to find. Predators can approach from any direction. You have to travel farther just to survive. Suddenly, intelligence becomes more valuable. Memory becomes more valuable. Cooperation becomes more valuable. The environment starts rewarding different traits. And that's exactly what happened. Around 6 to 7 million years ago, the ancestors of humans and chimpanzees split apart. One lineage remained largely adapted to forest life. The other increasingly ventured into more open environments. Those ancestors eventually became us. One of the first major adaptations was walking on 2 legs. At first glance, that seems like a strange choice. Most mammals move on 4 legs. Even chimpanzees do. So why stand upright? The answer is surprisingly scientific. Walking on 2 legs is incredibly energy efficient. Studies show humans use significantly less energy walking than chimpanzees moving the same distance. For an animal traveling long distances between food and water sources, that's a huge advantage. Standing upright also helps regulate heat. A 4-legged animal exposes most of its body directly to the sun. An upright human exposes much less surface area. And because our bodies are elevated higher above the ground, we're exposed to stronger cooling winds. Then there are the hands. Once they were no longer needed for locomotion, they could carry food, carry infants, and eventually carry tools. No single explanation fully accounts for bipedalism, but together, these advantages transformed our lineage. Then came another breakthrough: meat. The human brain is expensive, extremely expensive. Although it represents only about 2% of body weight, it consumes roughly 20% of the body's energy. A larger brain requires better fuel. Plants alone aren't particularly efficient at providing that fuel. Animal tissue is. And East Africa happened to be filled with large animals. Around 2.6 million years ago, some of the earliest stone tools appear in Ethiopia. They were simple, just sharp flakes struck from rocks. But they changed everything. These tools allowed early humans to butcher carcasses and crack open bones. Inside those bones was marrow, a calorie-rich source of fat that many predators couldn't access. Even if early humans weren't successful hunters yet, they could scavenge. Every extra calorie helped support a larger brain. Larger brains improved problem solving. Better problem solving improved access to food. And that food helped support even larger brains. It became a feedback loop, one that would continue for millions of years. But Africa had one more advantage. Its climate refused to stay stable. Over tens of thousands of years, rainfall patterns repeatedly shifted, lakes expanded, then disappeared. Grasslands became forests, forests became grasslands. Scientists call this environmental variability. And according to anthropologist Richard Potts, it may explain one of humanity's greatest strengths, adaptability. The theory is simple. Africa didn't reward specialization because the environment kept changing. A species perfectly adapted to one set of conditions might struggle when those conditions disappeared. Instead, Africa rewarded flexibility, the ability to learn, to innovate, to switch food sources, to survive in different environments. And if there's one thing humans excel at, it's adaptability. Then something even stranger happened. For most of human history, Homo sapiens weren't alone. Earth was populated by multiple human species. Neanderthals lived across Europe and Western Asia. They were shorter, but more heavily built than modern humans. A Neanderthal was probably stronger than almost any person alive today. Then there were the Denisovans. Scientists only discovered them in 2010 from a finger bone found in Siberia, an entire human species hidden in a cave. There was also Homo floresiensis, nicknamed the Hobbit. These tiny humans lived on an Indonesian island and stood barely over 3 feet tall. And before all of them came Homo erectus, one of the most successful human species ever. Homo erectus survived for nearly 2 million years and became the first human species to leave Africa. So why did Homo sapiens survive while the others disappeared? Partly climate, partly competition, partly interbreeding. Modern humans still carry Neanderthal and Denisovan DNA today, but many scientists suspect adaptability played a major role. And adaptability was precisely what Africa had been selecting for all along. By around 300,000 years ago, Homo sapiens appeared in Africa. Not as a single isolated population, but as multiple populations spread across the continent, exchanging genes, exchanging ideas, occasionally becoming isolated and then reconnecting again. Africa wasn't producing one experiment. It was running thousands of them simultaneously. And that diversity may have been humanity's secret weapon. So why Africa? Because a tectonic crack reshaped the landscape. Because that landscape created savannas. Because those savannas rewarded intelligence, cooperation, and flexibility. Because large animals provided the calories needed to fuel bigger brains. Because climate instability selected for adaptability. And because the continent was large and diverse enough to keep the experiment running for millions of years. Evolution didn't choose Africa. Africa created the conditions that made human evolution possible. The rest of the world inherited the result. Africa built the laboratory.